That's good, son, because you either surf or fight. That's clear.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 war movies hailed for their realism.
7.62 millimeter. Full Metal Jacket.
For this list, we're looking at harrowing films that capture the horrors of war. We've excluded miniseries, so sadly, no Band of Brothers. Which of these movies made an impression on you? Tell us in the comments. Number 10. All Quiet on the Western Front. War is hell, but that's not always how it's been depicted in film.
A man can't take all that rubbish they teach you seriously. After 3 years of shells and bombs, you can't peel that off as easily as a sock.
Many movies from Hollywood's golden era tended to paint war in a romanticized light. At first, it seems like All Quiet on the Western Front is going to take a similar approach, as Professor Kantorek tells a classroom of young men about how glorious the Army is.
You are the life of the fatherland, you boys. You are the Iron Men of Germany. You are the gay heroes who will repulse the enemy.
Once Paul Baumer and his friends enter combat, however, reality hits them like a grenade. This adaptation of Eric Maria Remarque's novel set the standard for all the war epics that followed. While it might not be the most graphic portrayal of war, every emotion rings true, and its poignant themes remain relevant.
Dirty and painful to die for your country. When it comes to dying for your country, it's better not to die at all.
There are millions out there dying for their countries. What good is it?
Number 9. Come and See. As a young boy, L.M. Klimov fled from his home during the Battle of Stalingrad, escaping across the Volga on a makeshift raft with his mother and baby brother. The Russian director drew from his own traumatic experiences years later when he made Come and See.
Безнадежный оптимист, рубеж. Лечить его надо! А что нам, плакать? Плакать и без нас, Юскому!
Centered on a boy who joins the Soviet partisans after finding an old rifle, this anti-war drama pulls no punches in its depiction of World War II. The title is drawn from a verse in the book of Revelation, referencing the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Come and See feels like hell on earth, particularly during a scene where a church is set ablaze.
Любить. Рожать.
Number 8. Full Metal Jacket. Stanley Kubrick's films have been praised for their brutal, uncompromising realism, and this adaptation of Gustav Hasford's semi-autobiographical novel is no exception.
How can you shoot women, children? Easy. You just don't lead them so much. Ain't war hell?
The sequences set in Vietnam are some of the most impressive Kubrick ever captured on film, mixing dark humor with gut-wrenching honesty. But the film's interpretation of boot camp is arguably even more shocking than the scenes involving actual combat.
Did your parents have any children that lived?
Sir, yes, sir!
I bet they regret that. You're so ugly you could be a modern art masterpiece.
Every insult that comes out of Sergeant Hartman's mouth feels like a punch to the gut as he breaks his recruits down. The fact that actor R. Lee Ermey was a drill instructor in real life only added to the authenticity, especially since he invented much of his dialogue.
God was here before the Marine Corps, so you can give your heart to Jesus, but your ass belongs to the Corps. Do you ladies understand?
Sir, yes, sir!
Number 7. Hacksaw Ridge.
While everybody else is taking life, I'm gonna be saving it. With the world so set on tearing itself apart, it doesn't seem like such a bad thing to me to want to put a little bit of it back together.
Andrew Garfield shines in this incredible true story about Desmond Doss, an Army medic who managed to serve his country without taking any lives during the Battle of Okinawa.
Don't you do that! Come on! Come on, Smitty, you stay with me! Let's go, we gotta move!
The opening scenes allow the audience to form a genuine connection with these characters. Then, when the soldiers finally arrive at Hacksaw Ridge, the film becomes a bloodbath with carnage around every corner. In the midst of all the chaos, though, Desmond provides a beacon of hope, risking his own life to save both American and even Japanese soldiers on the verge of death. Desmond demonstrates the best of humanity against the bleakest backdrop.
Please, Lord, help me get one more. Help me get one more.
Number 6. Black Hawk Down. Based on the book by Mark Bowden about the 1993 Battle of Mogadishu, Black Hawk Down is perhaps best remembered for the utterly convincing sequence where Super 6-1 crashes in Somalia. Of course, the movie is full of visually arresting sights as American soldiers desperately attempt to power through a swarm of gunfire, explosions, and various other calamities.
Why aren't you shooting? We're not being shot at yet. How can you tell? A hiss means it's close. A snap. Now they're shooting at us.
The Oscar-winning film editing and sound mixing, along with Ridley Scott's Oscar nomination direction, helped to create a ceaselessly hostile environment that never gives our protagonists or the audiences a chance to catch their breath.
Hey, where's the rescue squad? We're in.
Number 5. Lone Survivor. Since the title basically gives the ending away, you wouldn't think Lone Survivor would be especially engaging. What keeps the audience glued to the screen is Peter Berg's keen direction, which provides an unrelenting depiction of Operation Red Wings.
Hey, eyes down. Eyes down. Eyes down. Eyes down.
The film follows 4 Navy SEALs that are sent to capture Taliban leader Ahmed Shah. When the mission takes a turn for the worse, the SEALs are thrust into an agonizing fight for survival. Berg remains faithful to the novel of the same name, which was penned by Patrick Robinson and the titular lone survivor, Marcus Luttrell. While often difficult to watch, this is ultimately a life-affirming picture that'll encourage anybody to keep moving forward.
You are never out of the fight.
Number 4. The Thin Red Line. Terrence Malick took a hiatus from filmmaking for almost 20 years, but came firing back with his compelling adaptation of James Jones's 1962 autobiographical novel.
What's this war in the heart of nature? Why does nature vie with itself?
Revolving around the Battle of Mount Austin during World War II, The Thin Red Line might be semi-fictionalized, but its representation of the Guadalcanal campaign feels hauntingly believable. While the action sequences are exceptionally executed, it's the internal struggle that's really gripping, as the characters question the line that divides the sane and the mad.
War don't ennoble men. Turns them into dogs. Poisons the soul.
The all-star ensemble turns in universally convincing performances, and the atmospheric scenery only adds to the effect. Number 3. Apocalypse Now.
This is the end, beautiful friend.
Director Francis Ford Coppola endured a filmmaker's apocalypse throughout this movie's hellish production, which lasted nearly 5 years. The final result was a tour de force, however, complete with unforgettable performances, an unsettling soundtrack, and one seemingly impossible shot after another.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Watching the film, the audience not only feels as if they've been transported to Vietnam, but to an alternate reality where the world has been turned upside down. That might actually be the perfect metaphor for one of the most controversial wars in human history. Number what's been hailed by some as his magnum opus, Nolan masterfully breaks the characters, the dialogue, and the... Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Saving Private Ryan. Upon its release, Steven Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan received universal praise from critics, audiences, and even veterans for its realistic portrayal of combat. Years later, it's still usually the first film that comes to mind when people think of World War II epics. Part of that is due to the film's opening scene, which recreates D-Day with such painstaking attention to detail that it could be mistaken for documentary footage. In fact, the Normandy invasion proved so believable that some veterans walked out of the theater.
So I'm staying! Clear this beach, make way for the other!
This is all we've got between us and the Almighty!
Every inch of this beach has been pre-sighted! You stay here, you're dead now!
The rest of the movie is just as intense and authentically crafted.
Ernest. Ernest.